We're about to dive into one of the most staggering survival stories you will ever hear. It's a true story that pushes the absolute limits of what a human being is capable of enduring. But let me ask you something first. Just think about it. Really think about it. Trapped, alone, in total darkness. No food, no clean water, not a single ray of light. How long do you think you could really last? A couple of days? A week, maybe? The answer in this story is, well, it's almost unbelievable. 37 days. That's over a month. A month spent in what was essentially a cold, wet, pitch-black tomb. And this is the story of how one person made it out alive. You know, it's strange how the most horrific ordeals can start on the most beautiful days. This whole nightmare began with a simple choice, a choice that turned an adventure into a fight for life. So, picture this. It's October 13th, 2007. A group of 9 friends, all in their 20s, are in Thailand at the gorgeous Khao Sok National Park. Among them is a 22-year-old named Maya. The weather's perfect, spirits are high, they're having the time of their lives. While exploring, they come across the entrance to a cave known as Thumb Luang, and the warnings couldn't have been more obvious. There was a huge sign right there saying entry prohibited, especially during the rainy season. A local guide even told them, hey, 2 tourists died in there just a couple of years ago. But you know how it is. They were young, feeling invincible, and the thrill of adventure was just too strong. They ignored every single warning. Just look at how fast things went wrong. At 5 past noon, all 9 of them go into the cave. An hour later, they make another critical mistake. They split up into smaller groups to explore different tunnels. By 2 p.m., while they're deep inside, a storm rolls in outside. And inside the cave, the water is starting to rise, fast. And then, just like that, with absolutely no warning, the situation goes from just being dangerous to being deadly. Nature's full fury was about to hit them like a ton of bricks. What they were about to experience was a flash flood. And you have to understand, this isn't just the water level slowly creeping up. No, a flash flood is a sudden, violent wall of water moving with incredible force, enough to toss people around like rag dolls. People who survive these things almost always talk about the sound first. For the group trapped deep in the cave, it was this terrifying roar, like a freight train was charging straight at them through the darkness. They barely had time to register the sound before it was on top of them. The water they were wading in went from clear and knee-deep to a churning, muddy mess. And in what felt like a split second, it shot up from their knees to their necks. There was absolutely no time to react and nowhere to go. Maya was swept away, tossed around in the current, her head slammed against a rock. It was pure, raw instinct that took over. She clawed, she fought, and somehow she managed to pull herself onto a tiny ledge high above the water. And as she lay there, gasping for air, this horrifying reality sank in. She was completely alone, in absolute total darkness. Her friends were gone. The entrance was completely blocked by a wall of churning water. This wasn't just a crisis anymore. This was the start of an ordeal that's almost impossible to even imagine. For the next 2 days, the water was so high she was literally pinned to the ceiling of the cave. The only thing keeping her alive was a tiny 6-inch pocket of air. If the water had risen even a few more inches, she would have drowned. After 2 days of this, the water finally dropped just a little. As she felt her way around in the dark, her hand brushed against something cold and soft. It was hair. It was the body of her friend, Jessica, wedged against the rocks. The horror of that moment, realizing she was trapped in a tomb with her dead friend, is just unthinkable. So now, the real fight began. And it wasn't just a battle against the cold and starvation. It was a war against her own mind, fought in the crushing, suffocating darkness. Her fight for survival was happening on 2 different fronts. Physically, it was brutal. She forced herself to drink the filthy cave water, filtering it through her t-shirt. She ate whatever she could find: spiders, insects, even strange fungi growing on the rocks. But the psychological war was maybe even worse. She lost all track of time. She started talking to stones just to hear a voice. Her mind started playing cruel tricks on her, creating vivid hallucinations of rescue teams that weren't there, and even of her dead friends sitting and talking with her in the dark. Her body was literally falling apart. The constant 15-degree cold sent her into severe hypothermia. With no food, her muscles started to waste away. Her brain, desperate for nutrients, started creating olfactory hallucinations, these incredibly vivid, torturous smells of her favorite foods. And because she was always wet, she developed trench foot, a truly horrifying condition where the skin on her feet literally began to rot and peel away from the bone. After about 25 days of this living hell, her will finally shattered. She was too weak to move, too weak to even look for insects anymore, so she just lay down on a rock, accepted her fate, and waited to die. She had given up completely. But her story wasn't over. In a twist of fate that you really can only describe as a miracle, just as she surrendered to the darkness, a light was about to appear. It's now day 37. The rainy season had finally ended. A rescue team went into the cave on a routine check, fully expecting to just recover bodies. Instead, their flashlights landed on what they later described as a breathing skeleton. It was Maya. She was alive. Her estimated weight was just 30 kilograms. That's around 66 pounds. Think about that. She was literally skin and bones. The rescuers were absolutely stunned. No one, and I mean no one, thought it was possible for anyone to have survived. But this incredible survival story came with a devastating truth. 9 friends, full of life, walked into that cave. Only one came out. The bodies of her 8 other friends were all eventually recovered from the floodwaters. Maya became known all over the world as the Miracle Girl. And instead of letting this unspeakable trauma destroy her, she's used her incredible story to inspire others. Today, she works as a motivational speaker, a living, breathing testament to the power of human resilience. Her story really leaves us with this one simple, powerful truth she now shares with everyone. As long as there is breath, there is hope. It's a reminder that even in the deepest, darkest, most hopeless places, the will to live can sometimes find a way.